Hi, this is the installation video for Crawford Glass Door configuration OXX sliding door. My name is Richard Ayers and I'll be guiding you through this installation. The first thing you need to do is check your floor to make sure it's level. If there are any high spots, and it is possible, then you will grind those. So I don't recommend shimming the sill. It can present a problem for when the operating panels are moving over the shims. So please make sure you have your floor level. That's the starting point. Once you make sure that your sill is level, place your sill track down in the opening. Make sure you have it where you want it with your in and out. Have proper edge distance with your anchors in relation to the concrete slab. Excuse the way the header looks, the way it looks bowed. It's just a fisheye with the camera lens. Of course, you have to make sure that your header is level also. Use the track to mark your anchor holes with your drill, okay? But you're not going to drill all the way. You're just using this to mark your holes. Then you will remove your track and fully drill your anchor holes. Make sure you get the proper depth with your embedment, which is per the NOA. Make sure you're not moving it around as you do this, obviously. Once the holes are marked, remove the track. Then you can easily see all your anchor holes. Then continue to fully drill all your anchor holes at the sill. Once you finish drilling all your holes, sweep away all the dust. Make sure not too much of the dust goes back into the holes, because then you'll have to drill, re-drill if the dust fills the anchor hole. Once you've cleaned and removed all the dust and dirt, bed your corner, okay, underneath your track before you set your track, both corners. Make sure you get enough in there. You don't want to be messy, but make sure you fill it up so when you set your track, it compresses it and squeezes it out the side. You're going to set your track. Be careful. Make sure you set it as close to where you need it as possible to make sure you get your good seal with your corner sealant. Check your manual and your, test your sealant to make sure it's compatible with your adhesion. Now you're rechecking to make sure your sill's level, in and out and lengthwise, both. Very important. Temp in a few anchors. I prefer to do them at each end, and then a couple in the middle, but depending on the size, the overall width, you might not need them in the middle. It's just to make sure your track isn't moving. You don't need to tighten those down all the way. This is just to have your track where it needs to be. Now you check again for level. Like we said, you don't have all your anchors in yet. You're just double checking. Now the same thing you did before you put the track in. Run your bed of sealant at the corners. Make sure you come up on your back lip, okay, all the way. Now you want to slide your jamb in. Be careful. You don't want to scratch the sill track with your jamb, but they're both aluminum. Just be careful. Now slide it in. The reason you slide that bottom in is to get a nice bed, a nice sealant with your jamb to your sill. Okay, just make sure you're tight against the back lip too. Make sure your jamb is where it needs to be in relationship to the track. Tight against the back. Also, with your jamb, you have to flush it out with the end of the track, the back side of the jamb. That is very important for your interlock and your proper locking of the doors. Okay, then obviously check your jamb for plumb. Okay, both ways. Now I like to get a couple anchors in it at the, just for starters. Start at the bottom, then get one probably 3/4 of the way up. Okay, just to make sure you're still plumb and level. Tops, put an anchor at the top. This is just to set it plumb. Okay, for starters. Now grab your head track. Okay, you're going to lock that one side into your jamb that you already have temped in. Takes two people. One person can do it, but depending on the size, you'll probably need two. Like we said, the head looks bow, but it's just a fisheye in the camera. Okay, grab your other jam. Now make sure you've got that sill track bedded also. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, so bed that sill track. Then swing your other jam in. Okay, like we said, get it nice and bed with that corner sealant to your jam to your sill, very important. Now you want to check that for plumb. The in and out is the key with that, because you haven't started shimming your jams. Okay, once you get that, also get your other jam temped in. Bottom and top. Okay, it's just temping it in. Now basically your unit is set. Make sure your head track is flush with the end of the jams too. Same thing with the sill and the jams. Tempt in a few screws at the head. Okay, just always continue to check for plumb and level as you go. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves and realize you're out of plumb or out of level and have to pull screws or shims out. Now, if the sill track is dead level, you can use a tape measure at 3 or 4 points. If you're coming up with the same measurement, obviously if the sill's level, the head will be level, using those same dimensions. Now you're ready, once you get all your anchors in properly, you're ready to put your insert for your fixed panel. This is what, holds the fixed panel into the sill track. The header's already going to have grooves in it to accept your fixed panel, which will lock in the head of the fixed panel. As you can see, you slide it back and forth. That shows you there's no bellies or bows in your sill track, or else you wouldn't be able to slide that back and forth easily. Grab your fixed panel. Keep that sill track piece over a little from the jam so you have room. You don't pinch your hands. You don't scratch the jam. Once you set that, then you can slide it over with your fixed panel. Slide it over nice and tight into the jam. Make sure you tighten the jam. Then check your dimensions from your jam, your fixed panel to your jam. If you end up with the same dimension, then you know if your jam's plumb, then your fixed panel is plumb. Okay. Now you have your lock track. Okay, for the operable panels. This keeps the operable panels tight with the track and the frame itself. Okay, you roll it in. You start it with the track, and you roll it back to your back lip, and it'll snap on the back lip. This also will go in nice if your sill track is level. If it's not level, you'll be able to tell when you snap this piece in, because it's going to be hard to snap in if you can even get it in. If you have a problem, you've got to check your sill for level. Now you've got your operable panel. Bring the rollers up. Okay, be careful though, because now you got your rollers up and you've got exposed aluminum, the bottom of your operable panel and your sill track. You don't want to scratch it. Okay, as you can see, you come over a little bit from the jam, get it in. You have to be over by the jam in order for you to lock it into your locking track. Readjust the wheels. Make sure you're locked into that locking track at the sill with the interlock of your operable panel. Readjust the wheels, check for level, but if it's the same distance both sides above your level track, then obviously it's going to be level or close to level. You've got your second interlock, okay, for your operable. Repeat the process. This piece of track is going to be shorter because of the panel size. You've got a 3-panel opening, OXX, 2 operable panels. Okay, bring the panel you've already installed over up against that third interlock track. Now get your final operable panel. Okay, same thing with the wheels. Okay. As you can see, we use these glass cups, which are, you really can't do it without them, the suction cups. Bring it in, like you see, you've got to keep it to the side of the operable interlock at the sill. readjust your wheels, because if you don't and you slide it over, you're going to scratch the sill. You'll scratch the bottom of the upper panel, but the sill track you don't want to scratch. It scratches easy, it marks up easy. Want everything to be, you know, clean, nice insulation. Roll that back over. You see it interlocks with your first operable panel, locks into that jamb. Make sure everything's plumb and level. Final step, caulk the back of your sill track and up the jamb 6-inch minimum. And then just make sure everything's locking and operating properly. Make sure your sill track is clean. You probably want to clean that again with whatever solvent was recommended per the adhesion testing with your silicone or your sealant. Now you're on your exterior perimeter caulk. Okay. The sill track, you do not caulk the front of your sill track. You've already caulked it in the back. In case water migrates in from the anchors of the sill, it'll have a place to weep out. The exterior, though, jambs and head, you want to caulk those. Make sure you have the correct backer rod, correct sealant again, correct substrate surface for the proper adhesion. Now you put your handles on. Last step, put your handles on. The couple screws, machine screws. Be careful, don't strip these screws, or else, you know, you're gonna have to get new handles. I like to screw these on by hand. You also have your latch for the lock that's incorporated into the handle on the interior. Just hand screwdriver. Don't over tighten them. Nice and, you know, snug. Okay, make sure your latch locks. Good job. There's also bumpers that are involved so you don't slam your operable door into your other panel.